She was once the golden girl of reality TV's most famous fundamentalist family. Then she walked away. Jill Duggar's decision to distance herself from the Duggars shocked loyal fans and shook the image of 19 kids and counting. Now, in 2025, she's built a very different life, one filled with independence, new priorities, and a voice she never had before. Here's where her journey has taken her. By 2025, Jill Duggar Dillard has become one of the most prominent Duggar children to publicly break away from the highly controlled and conservative environment of her family. Born into the spotlight as the sixth child of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, Jill grew up in the reality TV phenomenon 19 Kids and Counting, which captured the world's attention with its depiction of strict Christian values, large family dynamics, and rigid social rules. For many years, Jill adhered publicly to the family's expectations, maintaining an image of obedience and compliance. However, behind the camera, tensions were building as she began questioning the constraints imposed upon her, particularly regarding personal autonomy, financial control, and the suppression of dissenting opinions. Growing up on reality television left Jill with a unique set of challenges that few could truly understand. The constant scrutiny, both from cameras and the watching public, made it difficult for her to express herself freely or develop her own identity separate from the Duggar brand. Jill later revealed in interviews and her memoir that the pressure to appear perfect created emotional strain, leaving little room for personal exploration or mistakes. While many of her siblings continued to conform to the family's public image, Jill quietly nurtured a growing desire to assert her independence, even as she navigated the expectations of both the media and her parents. In 2023, Jill and her husband, Derek Dillard, made headlines with the release of their memoir, Counting the Cost. The book candidly detailed their experiences growing up under the Duggar system and the emotional, financial, and social toll of being part of one of America's most famous reality TV families. Jill and Derek described the strict financial oversight her father exercised, which often left her feeling constrained and dependent. They also highlighted the constant monitoring of personal choices, from education and career opportunities to interactions with friends and the wider world. Through the memoir, Jill positioned herself as a voice for those who struggle under controlling family environments, shedding light on a side of the Duggar household that had rarely been openly discussed before. The impact of Counting the Cost was immediate. Not only did it become a New York Times bestseller, but it also sparked broader conversations about the consequences of growing up in highly controlled family systems. Jill's honesty resonated with readers who had faced similar experiences of parental control, religious pressures, or public scrutiny. By 2025, she is widely recognized not just as a former reality TV star, but as a figure of courage and independence, willing to speak out about difficult truths even when they involve her own family. Unlike some of her siblings who have maintained quiet lives or returned to low-profile routines, Jill continues to use her platform to advocate for personal freedom, mental health awareness, and the right to define one's own path. Since stepping away from the Duggar household, Jill has embraced opportunities that reflect her personal interests and values rather than familial expectations. She has engaged in public speaking, interviews, and writing projects that center on her lived experiences, encouraging other young women in restrictive environments to pursue self-empowerment. Alongside her advocacy work, Jill has focused on her family life with Derek and their children, cultivating a home environment that prioritizes open communication, emotional well-being, and balanced decision-making. While she occasionally faces public attention due to her outspoken stance, Jill's commitment to authenticity has helped her establish a life that is distinctly her own. Reportedly, Jill Duggar Dillard and her husband, Derek Dillard, have built a life that starkly contrasts with the highly public, tightly controlled environment in which Jill was raised. Together, they are raising their 3 sons, Israel, Samuel, and Frederick, in the relatively quiet and private setting of Northwest Arkansas. Far removed from the relentless scrutiny of reality television, Jill and Derek have intentionally cultivated a home life centered on balance, emotional well-being, and family cohesion. Their approach is informed both by their personal experiences growing up under rigid rules and by a conscious desire to provide their children with a sense of freedom and individuality that Jill often felt was missing in her own childhood. The Dillards' daily life is a blend of structure and flexibility, reflecting the values they want to instill in their children. Through their YouTube channel and the Dillard family website, followers are given carefully curated glimpses into their homeschooling routines, home projects, and family activities. Jill frequently shares updates on their educational approach, emphasizing hands-on learning, creativity, and critical thinking. Unlike the Duggar method of strict adherence to predetermined rules, Jill encourages her children to ask questions, explore personal interests, and develop their own passions. This focus on individualized learning and autonomy represents a marked departure from the highly regimented, uniform lifestyle she herself experienced as a Duggar child. Beyond academics, Jill and Derek are intentional about creating an emotionally supportive environment for their children. Mental health and open communication are prioritized, and the couple has spoken in interviews and online posts about the importance of discussing feelings and acknowledging challenges. Jill has stated that she wants her sons to feel safe expressing themselves, whether that involves curiosity, mistakes, or personal doubts, experiences that were often suppressed during her own upbringing. The family's parenting style reflects a broader philosophy of empathy and understanding, aiming to nurture resilience while respecting each child's individuality. Domestic life in the Dillard household also incorporates practical skills, home projects, and shared responsibilities, all of which are documented in glimpses on social media. From gardening and woodworking to cooking and meal planning, Jill and Derek emphasize teamwork and self-sufficiency. The family often shares favorite recipes or small DIY projects, showcasing a home environment that values both creativity and collaboration. These activities are not just about productivity. They are also designed to strengthen familial bonds and instill a sense of accomplishment and pride in their children. Despite their modest public presence compared to her Duggar past, Jill has managed to maintain a digital connection with fans, primarily through updates that reflect authentic family life rather than orchestrated reality TV moments. The Dillards' online content highlights parenting lessons, sibling dynamics, and everyday moments, giving viewers an insight into a lifestyle rooted in intentionality and mindful living. By modeling a more open, emotionally aware, and flexible approach to family life, Jill demonstrates a conscious effort to break the cycle of strict control and surveillance she experienced growing up. Jill and Derek's commitment to raising their children with love, respect, and independence also extends to spiritual and moral guidance. While they remain grounded in their Christian faith, Jill emphasizes personal reflection and choice over rigid compliance, encouraging her sons to develop their own understanding of values, ethics, and spirituality. This balance of faith, autonomy, and emotional support reflects Jill's evolved perspective on parenting, a perspective shaped by her past yet intentionally oriented toward the future well-being of her children. In addition, in April 2024, Jill Duggar Dillard shared profoundly heartbreaking news with the public. She and her husband, Derek Dillard, had experienced the stillbirth of their daughter, Isla Marie Dillard. The announcement immediately drew national attention, reflecting both Jill's status as a former reality TV personality and the openness with which she addressed her grief. Unlike many public figures who may choose to shield their private tragedies from the spotlight, Jill spoke candidly about the pain, confusion, and profound sense of loss that accompanied this devastating event. Her transparency resonated with countless individuals and families who had faced similar heartbreak, providing a rare and authentic window into the emotional toll of pregnancy loss. The loss of Isla Marie marked a turning point in Jill's public life as she began to intertwine her personal experiences with advocacy and awareness. She spoke openly about the intense emotional journey that followed the stillbirth, from moments of disbelief and sorrow to the slow, painstaking process of accepting a reality she had never imagined. Jill candidly described the physical and psychological aftermath of such a loss, touching on feelings of emptiness, guilt, and the challenges of navigating a world that often struggles to acknowledge the depth of grief experienced by parents in these circumstances. By addressing the subject with such raw honesty, Jill not only honored Isla's memory, but also helped dismantle the silence and stigma surrounding pregnancy loss. In August 2025, Jill and Derek visited Isla's gravesite for the first time since the tragedy. Jill shared the experience on social media, posting a deeply moving tribute that captured both the sorrow of loss and the enduring love she feels for her daughter. The posts were filled with heartfelt reflections on Isla's brief existence, the dreams and hopes Jill had held, and the quiet strength she has drawn from the experience. Many followers were touched by her vulnerability, with comments expressing empathy, solidarity, and gratitude for her willingness to speak openly about a topic often left unspoken. The visit became a symbolic moment of healing for the family, allowing them to honor Isla while also taking a step forward in their personal journey of grief. Since sharing her story, Jill has used her platform to advocate for pregnancy loss awareness and to provide comfort to families navigating similar tragedies. She emphasizes that grief is not linear and that acknowledging the loss, rather than suppressing it, is an essential part of healing. Through social media posts, interviews, and personal essays, Jill has offered advice, support, and empathy, creating a community for parents who may feel isolated in their sorrow. Her advocacy extends beyond emotional support. She encourages open dialogue about medical, emotional, and spiritual considerations related to stillbirth, highlighting the need for societal recognition and compassionate care for grieving families. The experience has also influenced Jill's approach to motherhood and family life with her other children, Israel, Samuel, and Frederick. While the loss of Isla Marie is an enduring wound, Jill has integrated the lessons of grief and resilience into her parenting philosophy. She models emotional openness for her sons, demonstrating that it is possible to feel deep sorrow, honor loss, and continue loving and nurturing a family in the face of tragedy. The Dillard household has become a place where vulnerability is acknowledged, emotions are validated, and family bonds are strengthened through shared experiences of support and understanding. Now, let's take a closer look at this remarkable act of Jill Duggar Dillard. It's health-related advocacy and advocacy. Her public platform has become a space where she discusses the critical need for counseling, emotional support, and self-reflection, especially for individuals emerging from highly restrictive family or religious environments. Jill frequently emphasizes that mental health care is not a sign of weakness, but a vital step toward understanding oneself, establishing healthy boundaries, and fostering emotional resilience. Her advocacy is informed by her own experiences growing up under the rigid, authoritarian structure of the Duggar household, where deviations from prescribed norms were discouraged, and emotional struggles were often minimized or hidden. Together with her husband, Derek Dillard, Jill has taken an active stance in speaking out against authoritarian control, both within families and within some religious organizations. Through interviews, social media, and public appearances, they have highlighted the potential harms of environments where obedience is valued over individuality, where questioning authority is discouraged, and where personal boundaries are often disregarded. Jill often shares her own journey of navigating these pressures, how she learned to recognize unhealthy patterns, advocate for herself, and make choices that prioritize her family's emotional and psychological well-being. By doing so, she provides guidance and encouragement to others who may feel trapped in similar circumstances, showing that it is possible to reclaim agency and rebuild one's life after years of restrictive upbringing. Jill's advocacy also centers on the importance of personal growth and autonomy. She frequently discusses how individuals can learn to identify their values, establish independence, and pursue paths that align with their authentic selves rather than conforming to external expectations. For many who grew up under authoritarian systems, Whether in families, religious institutions, or other strict social structures, this process can be challenging, requiring courage, reflection, and consistent effort. Jill emphasizes that autonomy does not necessarily mean severing all family ties, but instead cultivating relationships that respect individuality and mutual understanding. Her message underscores the idea that personal freedom, emotional health, and family loyalty can coexist when approached with mindfulness and intentionality. Taking such a public stance has not been without consequences. Jill and Derek's outspoken advocacy has further distanced them from some of their Duggar relatives, particularly those who remain aligned with Jim Bob Duggar's strict ideological framework. While this has created tensions within the extended family, Jill consistently frames her choices in terms of her own family's well-being rather than personal grievances. She stresses that prioritizing mental health, healthy boundaries, and a nurturing environment for her children is paramount, and she does not view her advocacy as an attack on her relatives, but as a reflection of her commitment to building a safer and more emotionally supportive home life. Beyond family dynamics, Jill's work has also resonated with a broader audience. Followers of her social media, readers of her memoir, and participants in interviews have repeatedly expressed gratitude for her honesty, transparency, and willingness to discuss topics often considered taboo. By sharing her personal experiences with mental health care, therapy, and the challenges of leaving an authoritarian system, Jill has helped normalize conversations about emotional well-being, particularly for women who grew up in environments where questioning authority was discouraged. Her advocacy creates a sense of solidarity, offering both validation and guidance for those seeking to reclaim their own autonomy. Non-stopping there, Jill Duggar Dillard has firmly established a life that exists far beyond the shadow of reality television, forging a public image that reflects her values, interests, and personal growth. Unlike many of her siblings who continue to maintain strong ties to the Duggar name and the expectations of the family's conservative following, Jill has consciously worked to redefine her identity on her own terms. Her public persona is no longer confined to the rigid framework of 19 Kids and Counting or its successor shows. Instead, she embraces authenticity, transparency, and individuality as guiding principles for both her personal life and her engagement with followers. Jill's online presence serves as a curated yet genuine window into her day-to-day experiences, reflecting a balance of family life, personal interests, and broader advocacy. On social media, she shares updates on homeschooling routines, family projects, and parenting milestones, giving fans an intimate glimpse into the life she and her husband, Derek Dillard, have created for their 3 children, Israel, Samuel, and Frederick. Beyond family updates, Jill often posts lifestyle content, including home organization tips, meal ideas, and personal reflections, demonstrating that her life is multidimensional and deliberately crafted outside of the Duggar spotlight. These posts emphasize her desire to live with intention, prioritize her family's well-being, and maintain a degree of privacy while still connecting meaningfully with her audience. One significant aspect of Jill's post-reality TV life is her engagement with books, education, and personal development. She regularly shares book recommendations ranging from parenting and mental health guides to inspirational reads, often contextualizing them with her own experiences and reflections. Through this, Jill encourages her followers to pursue personal growth, lifelong learning, and informed decision-making, values she has cultivated since stepping away from her family's restrictive control. Her posts are not simply aspirational. They are practical, relatable, and rooted in lived experience, offering guidance to those navigating similar transitions from rigid family systems or high-pressure environments. Despite her intentional lifestyle and focus on authenticity, Jill continues to encounter criticism from some conservative supporters of the Duggar family. Dissenting voices often question her choices, parenting methods, or departure from the family's strict framework, and public scrutiny occasionally revisits past controversies. However, Jill has shown remarkable resilience in navigating these challenges, framing her decisions as acts of self-preservation and love for her immediate family. Rather than engaging in public disputes, she emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries, living intentionally, and prioritizing emotional health over external validation. This approach further distinguishes her from siblings who remain deeply intertwined with Duggar traditions and public expectations. What do you think about Jill Duggar's current life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.